Servus zusammen, wir spielen heute weiter bei What Remains of Edith Finch. Wir waren im Zimmer von Molly angekommen. Jede Menge Sachen. Natürlich ein Zimmer von einem kleinen Mädchen. Dementsprechend sieht es ja auch aus. Guck mal, dann den Tag.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Was
My
zu essen
Halloween
suchen,
candy was all gone.
Aber wenn wir kurz darauf uns fokussieren, dass sie gesagt hat, sie wird bald nicht mehr da sein. Das heißt, das kleine Mädchen wusste, was passiert.
Mom, can I come out now? The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Dann kommst du das Essen weggegessen.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Ja, den Goldfisch wird man nie essen. Doch besser. Na? Badezimmer.
I kept eating and eating.
Sie ist Zahnpasta und
I ate a lot of things that night.
ihre Hände zeigen, dass es dem Mädchen tatsächlich nicht gut geht.
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
Oh, ein Vogel.
It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly,
Oh,
I was a cat.
oh, wir sind eine Katze. Geht das hier? Okay.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Wir kriegen dich. Dann gehen wir hin. Wo ist der Vogel? Da oben.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired.
Oh, da kommen wir nicht hoch.
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind.
Eine Eule,
Then I
die sterben,
heard
was
little
ist das?
teeth nibbling in the grass.
Wo haben wir denn den Nippling? Was machen wir denn hier? Oh. Na, da war irgendwo gerade ein Geräusch. Oh.
Rabbits.
Verdammt. Ja, Kaninchen, tut mir leid.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit.
In einem hab's
Then
auch
I flew
verspeist.
off to find something bigger.
Okay, was Größeres zu essen. Noch immer hungrig.
A mama rabbit.
Oh.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
Man fast dran
And
erstickt. So
suddenly,
groß.
I was a shark.
Ein Ei hat natürlich kein Problem. What the fuck? Da ist ein Fisch auf dem Trocken gemäht hier. Hey! Gehen wir einfach mal hier. Oh, der Arm. Was wollen wir denn? Ach, komm schon. Oh.
jumped off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Ein Seeraub. Achso.
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Arme kleine Raupe, es tut mir leid.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Die Steuerung ist echt schwierig. Was ist denn? Irgendwo Blut im Wasser. Da hinten. Ja, das ist natürlich echt ärgerlich für dich kleines Robbenchen.
Grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
What? Und was sind wir denn jetzt? Kommen wir jetzt weiter? Achso, wir ziehen uns mit den Tentakeln weiter, okay.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Niemand? Auch niemand? Dann gehen wir hier weiter. Wir können ein ganzes Stück aus unserer Tentakel nach vorne bringen. Und das hier gut.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Hallo. Ein interessanter Traum. Da oben kommt Musik her. Und bestimmt noch mehr Leute.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Konnte nicht aufhören zu essen. Getrunken ist er. So. Hat sich ausgetrunken. Hallo, Captain.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry.
Immer noch.
Across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
Okay.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Was wir dann wieder am Ende finden. Oh, in der Toilette.
I got closer and closer.
Na, wir sind in ihrem Zimmer.
All my stomach started growling,
Alle wegen. Wie viele hat sie denn?
and suddenly I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep, but it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Oh. Sie wird lecker sein, okay? Das ist ein sehr interessanter Traum, den das kleine Mädchen da aufgeschrieben hat.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Und warum sollte man das nicht glauben? Guck mal, das ist eine Katze. Wir wollen doch nicht hier raus. Warte mal, warte mal, warte mal. Hey, ich wollte mich in dem Zimmer noch abgucken. Oh no. Ja. Gut, dann
This will be
folgen.
obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
Deswegen hieß die Katze Molly. Was sind wir denn hier jetzt?
We got along and it was a good place to hide from my mom.
Guter Ort, um sich zu verstecken, oder so.
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Oh. Also die Leute hier haben
The
echt
room was like
Pech
a
die ganze
museum.
Zeit.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
Reichtum und Unglück. Okay.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johann. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Mit dem Haus zusammen. Okay.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Oh no?
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
Oh nein. Konnte dem Fluch nicht unbedingt entkommen.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
So, also die Edie hat dann den Grundstein für dieses Haus gelegt, sozusagen. Okay. Und nun? Na, das hat mich schon. Ah, nee, wie kommen wir denn hier raus? Achso, okay.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Das ist ein cooles Bild auf der Tür. Sven und Edie. Wir gucken uns hier noch ein bisschen um. 1937.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could
Oh.
have, but she didn't.
Jetzt zum nächsten erwischt.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Huh. Badezimmer. Einem super Flauscheteppich. So, das. Dusche
The
mit
only trace
Stuhl.
Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Ja, eine markante Spur. Zum rosa Zimmer, da drin wird man doch irre. Ja, den Schlüssel haben wir natürlich noch nicht, oder? Ach doch. Das ist überall der gleiche Schlüssel, okay?
There's a secret in this bathroom.
Aber was?
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Oh Mann. Wow. Also hatten wir jetzt Odin und Edie und Molly.
Sven
den
gave Sam an old
Sven.
camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Okay, Hobbyfotograf. Milton. Weg mit dem Stuhl. Na komm, steh auf. Wo ist denn der Raum? So, geteilt.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
Huh?
And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Niemand erkennt das Wort. Kelvin. Überall so kleine Hinweise.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Okay, wir müssen schaukeln. Mit einem gebrochenen Fuß. Das ist vielleicht nicht so schlau.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Ja, ich springe
I
jetzt da
told him
runter.
going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Also wir versuchen den Überschlag.
Calvin! I'm not gonna
Dezent gefährlich.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
Oh nein.
I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Ne, schaffen wir es? Ja, wir schaffen es. Oh nein.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Oh, gefährlich. Oh Mann. Also die Familie hat
Ja.
echt,
Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
ja, Zugang verboten, dass so bleibt nichts. Was haben wir hier? Nix.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Okay. Ey, krass. Ne? Irgendwie auch. Also die Geheimgänge in dem Haus sind echt verrückt.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Jetzt haben wir hier einen Zusatzgang, um wieder ins Haus zu kommen, okay.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Barbaras Zimmer. Hier ist es wieder. My Friend Bigfoot. Auch der Aufsteller. Ja, auch das kann man tatsächlich in der Ebola 3 Demo finden. Das ist sehr interessant. Dann gucken wir doch mal.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Dreadful stories.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch.
Oh,
As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
oh.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room.
Ooh.
So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Oh.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe.
Oh.
I'll be back in a sec.
So kommen wir dann auch in den Keller.
Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Kommen wir nicht lang. Also die Tür aufschlagen. Na, wir können mit der.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Da kommt noch an auf den Meter, mein Freund.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well,
Oh.
I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then
Ja, glaub ich
act
gern.
furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She
Yeah.
threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Der nächsten Krücke. Das ist wieder die Musik. Mein kleiner Bruder ist möglicherweise in Gefahr. Ja. Sollte man vielleicht rennen? Das war Walters Room, ne?
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Hier sind wir in Mollys Zimmer. Hier geht's zum Bad.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Hau dir aufs Maul, mein Freund. Oh nein, er ist weg.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
Oh je.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
Alter.
Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Oh. Was für ein schlechter Pun. Ob das wirklich so abgelaufen ist? Also bei der Familie kann ich es mir fast vorstellen.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Schade. Nee, kein Happy End. So, das ist, denke ich, für heute auch echt genug Input. Das lassen wir mal sacken. Also, gerade die Sache mit der Schaukel und dem kleinen Jungen, das packt schon ganz schön ab. Und auch die Tatsache, wenn sie hier tatsächlich von so irgendwelchen rumstreifenden Mördern oder so umgebracht wurde. Crazy, crazy. Die Familie Finch hat es also nicht leicht, ist verflucht, aber im Gegenzug dazu zieht sie irgendwie Ruhm und Reichtum an. Das ist auch sehr interessant. Na gut, ich hoffe, euch hat das Ganze heute wieder gut zugesagt und ihr seid beim nächsten Mal auch wieder mit dabei. Wenn nicht schon gemacht, gerne ein Abo dalassen mit Glocke, um auf dem Laufenden zu bleiben. Wenn euch das Video zugesagt hat, gerne ein Like da lassen und in den Kommentaren könnt ihr mich ja gerne wissen lassen, was ihr von dem Ganzen denkt. Und in dem Sinne sage ich, haut rein, bis zum nächsten Mal.